Listen to me. The most successful agencies don't spend time or work in order to scale. They let their money work for them. Especially OFM is a pay to win business. So, like in a video game, if you spend enough money, you can get unfair advantages to run laps around your competition. And if you only give me 50 minutes, I will show you exactly where and how to spend your money in OFM to get an unfair head start. So, let's get right into it. Of course, after seeing the cool money graphic, I want to get a bit deeper into the top three things that I personally ever invested my money in and that you can follow one to one. The first one being A players. Let me adjust my face cam. Now, what do I mean with A players? We are talking about employees. And for those of you who haven't watched any other videos of mine, the essential difference between an A player, a B player, and a C player is as the following. A C player employee, right, is someone who is lazy and uninformed. Someone who doesn't know how to do qualitative work. He lacks knowledge and skill. Plus, he lacks motivation and discipline. So he is not even putting in the hours or the effort. A B player has one of those two things. It's either someone who works super hard, is super invested into the company, but just doesn't quite know how to get the job done as of right now, and he lacks the knowledge, or he's extremely good at what he does. He just lacks the proper motivation and work ethic, which still you can potentially bring him. So a B player needs work from your end, needs input from your end to transform into an A player in the midterm. And an A player obviously is someone who has both, someone who works hard and knows the game and is very fast learner. So the one thing you need in a company in order to grow are A players. You need people in key positions, and you need, for example, chatters that bring in 2 or 3 times the revenue. You bring in marketing employees that scale up your subs. You need managers, essentially supervisors, shadow, or whatever you want to call it, that actively scale up your company. Now, the problem we run into with these kind of people is that they usually cost money. They cost more money to acquire, aka more effort, more work. They cost more money in salaries and compensations because if you're that good, you're going to expect a little bit more money. And also, they cost money in terms of their setup. So, what should you spend money on when it comes to hiring A players? First, obviously, the hiring itself. You won't find someone as talented, as well experienced, and as motivated, and as hard of a high worker doing your usual hiring. You might even work with specific advertisements. You might work with high quality hiring standards, having a whole video that you produce of your company that looks professional to attract professional people. You see where I'm going here? If your hiring looks super unprofessional, it's like a fucking amateur, no wonder you're not signing these people. You can work with headhunters. By the way, biggest cheat code in the industry. I hear no one talk about it. Hire a fucking headhunter. Get you someone who may have not worked as a chatter before. I understand most headhunters won't be able to fill that position. Get a banger support rep as someone who has been in charge of an entire support team in the past. Teach him, okay, you still do the same thing. Now it's just titty pictures and dick pics. Okay, cool. In a month, he's going to be at the position where he's outperforming every single chatter of yours. But again, you will have to spend your money on the hiring, which is one of the best investments you can do. Next up is the loyalty. You might even have someone you would identify as an A player, or you're already in the process of signing one. So in order to spend more money on them, because they're gonna be the people in charge of your agency and responsible for giving you more revenue actively, obviously you want to spend money on their loyalty. That means obviously a certain base salary, paying them just more money by default, a higher percentage if they're chatter, or a higher salary overall, but as well as bonuses, incentives. If someone works his ass off and is the best employee in your company, you want to reward them for that, and you want to include them in the agency's success. You want to give him a Christmas bonus, you want to pay him more money, and you want to make sure that he is happy and he feels that you're grateful and understanding of the work he puts in. This is the best thing you can do in order to lose an A player, is to not show him that you care and that you're not thankful because you're this big G business alpha agency guy that doesn't have any emotions. That's the easiest way to lose them, because guess what? Even high performers need an audience. They need someone to perform too, so they feel appreciated, right? So put your money where your mouth is and reward those people. That's the easiest way. Even if you see someone sacrificing a lot for your agency, which especially with chatters happens a lot of times, just send them like 100, 200 bucks. Send them a Christmas bonus for like 1 or 2 salaries extra. Rewarding these people and investing in them is one of the most important things you can do. Last but not least is obviously the setup. if you have an efficient person that works efficient, you also want to make sure that they're able to work as efficient as possible. So if you have a super great chef, super great manager that works on a Samsung smart fridge because he doesn't have money for a computer, that is where you should put your money, right? The people who deserve it and the people who have the potential to use these assets should get better devices, better equipment, maybe a gym membership. That makes people more productive. We've tested that. Every cheddar we've gotten a gym membership increased their KPIs. Effective number, by the way. Fun fact. But invest in their setups. Help them have better equipment for work. Help them have a better lifestyle, a more organized lifestyle, right? If they have to take the bus to their office that they have, or if they fucking have to drop their kids off at soccer practice, but they don't even have a bike, buy them a bike. It costs fucking $50 or whatever. But help them make their lifestyle more effective, make them more compatible with your work schedules. Now, this is how you invest in A players, and if you fill the right positions with the right people, your agency is a completely different organization just through that. I've done another video about hiring where I dropped the number. In the US alone in 2025, companies combined spend approximately $40+ billion just for hiring, just to hire the right people in the right spot. That's an average number, right? But you see how much money goes into hiring the right people, so there's absolutely zero reason for you to not do the same. Next up is investing in competitive content. OFM is a content business. The whole business evolves around specific types of content. The more and the better your content is, the more money you make. Girl math. But if your content is shit, everything else fails. Everything you do is content. So how do we invest in content to actually make it make sense? Now, first of all, we have clothing. That means there are always certain outfits or viral outfits that will help your creators look more aesthetic, more attractive, more interesting, and highlight their strengths and hide their weaknesses. I gave you an example. This year is called the viral TikTok leggings. I think this must have been like 2022, 2023 when this was a thing. And as long as you made a video with that leggings and put it in the text, oh, testing the new viral TikTok leggings, every guy went crazy because they knew they were about to see some fucking cake. You know what I mean? So investing in clothing is one of the easiest ways, which is one of the most logical ways. You want to make sure you find clothings for your creator that make them look attractive, make them more aesthetic, and make them look interesting, at least, right? Because it may not be your main target of the day to find good clothing for a creator, but that's your responsibility. Because if your creator doesn't look attractive, looks boring, then you won't get any views. So you have to find a way to influence that. The easiest way is tell your creator, hey, I need like 10 more leggings, I want to try some out. Just search for leggings that you like. Here are a couple ideas that I'd like to include. And she's going to just do the shopping for you. Women like that anyway, right? But clothing, one of the best ways you can do. And also if your creator doesn't have any clothing, this is going to be the number one priority. Because like I said, hard to get views if your creator looks like she's wearing a burqa or looks like she's straight off of a fucking rave. All right, next up are locations, filming locations for your content. What does that mean? You want to make sure that your video backgrounds and the places where we record the videos are, again, aesthetic, interesting, hooking, keeping the people on the video and giving some form of entertaining aspect overall. So if you film videos in front of a white wall, the first place to spend your money might probably be to invest in some fucking location where you can at least record, right? Rather it be just building up one corner of the room in sort of like a TikTok IG-ish way with a couple of plants, maybe a TV, maybe some interesting accessoires, right? Some gaming. If you have an e-girl, for example, you can put the typical e-girl background with merchandise of games, movies, series, pop culture. There's a bunch of shit you can do, even renting out locations, renting interesting Airbnbs, going to a gaming arcade, to a, let's say, random gym in this city that has specific LEDs. All of these locations you can think of. If you want to spend top tier money, you can even fly them out to Thailand and do videos on the beach. Always performs. But spending money on locations is a very, very important thing that you want to master. Next up are gimmicks. Items that you can use for the content. Items that give your content a specific way of being unique. We recently got our creators VR headsets, not the specific one, I think it's not out yet, but using a VR headset is something that you can build a lot of content around because it's interesting, it's trending, right? So just buying a creator a VR headset, saying, hey, you did great work, here's a VR headset, be happy. You also improve the creator motivation, cheat code, but now you have at least 20 different video ideas involving VR headsets, right? You can do the research, what type of VR headset content is out there. It's crazy video ideas. The same as accessoires for their outfits, right? If you have a goth girl, alt girl, kind of creator. Buy them like a choker, buy them some golf accessoires you can find on Pinterest, you can find on the internet if you Google for 5 minutes. All these different gimmicks that just spice up your content and potentially give you a whole new content idea. Buy them a fucking PS5 and do like 50 videos about gaming being involved in a certain way. Buy them a fucking dirt bike if you want to spend top tier money on like a high performing creator. You can go, there's no limit, you can go that high. But invest in gimmicks. Next up is lighting, obviously one of the more obvious things, right? Obviously, lighting is one of the easiest ways to make your videos look top tier. You can have a shit-ass location, and with ambient lighting, a good light ring, and the right angle, your video will look like Iman Ghazi filmed it himself. So, using ambient lights, which is something, they cost nothing. They cost like $30. Ring light for your phone to be in with nice front lighting, which is the first thing you should buy, arguably, costs what, $20. So even with $100 investment, you can spice up your locations and your videos, your overall content, because again, content is everything. Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, TikTok, OF, banner, profile pictures, scripts, PPVs, mass messages, everything's content. So spicing up your location with these little investments is gonna have a major ROI. Last thing is obviously the camera himself. Now, some creators require very professional looks, right? High quality 4K filming with super great lighting. Some creators work better when the videos look unprofessional, like a normal girl would do them, right? Some creators don't work that well with a super high camera because it makes them look unauthentic. Now, either way, you want to have at least a certain quality, meaning whether you buy an iPhone 16 to film great content, whether you buy a professional camera to go one step further, test it out, especially for the OF stuff. It doesn't matter. Investing in your video quality, easy game. I think that doesn't need explanation. At least it needs the least one. The next part that I want to talk about is paid advertisements, which we can use for a bunch of different things. I'm going to highlight the top 3. First of all is recruiting. You, and arguably at a certain point you have to do that, need to sign more creators. At a certain point, this is the way to scale, right? You won't be able to touch through to the 400 or 500K mark, even the 100K mark, if you're working with 1 or 2 creators. It's possible, but it's not the easiest way to get there. So why would you make things unnecessarily hard? Pun intended. Now, in order to do meta ads, I have a whole video about that, right? How to sign creators with meta ads specifically. Let me tell you, the number one way to a consistent flow of incoming leads of creators is going to be through paid ads, because I doubt that, especially when you're making 50, 60 grand in the future, or you're already making more than that, you want to sit in front of Instagram all day sending outreach messages like, hey, we're this agency, you want to work with us? Like, that's unprofessional, that isn't scalable to that degree. So meta ads for recruiting, one of the main things you can use them for. Traffic is the next thing. Now, there's a big if, because there are very specific strategies to use paid ads to get subscribers. It's not going to be like in the good old dropshipping days where you spend 5K, you make 10K back, and it's this money printing machine. You're going to have very specific setups, very specific ad verticals, and very specific use cases for some creators. So it's not the get rich quick method that OFM gurus are trying to sell you. It's not like the answer to everything. I can't get subs. Oh, let me just buy ads. It's not going to be like that. It's not the best way. But especially when it comes to scaling, you can put your money into ads and have a positive ROI. Just don't boost random Instagram accounts now because you think, oh, the bald guy, not anymore, obviously, on YouTube said something about ads. That's not going to be the answer, right? And that's something I don't want to put out on YouTube because then every idiot starts using it. But definitely, you can spend money to get traffic. And last but not least, as we've talked about the chatters, and this video is not done yet, I have a little surprise down here for you. Obviously, the last thing is the hiring itself, using ads to attract professional people. And you would be amazed what type of employees you can actually sign for your agency. You can get people that worked at the top of the top companies, Revolut, Meta, Google. You can get those people in key positions and they don't cost you that much. They don't cost 20 grand a month. They cost a couple of grand in the beginning, right? So having, for example, imagine you have someone in charge of your meta ads that worked at fucking Meta or at fucking Google, or I was in charge of setting up ad operations for companies with like 500 employees. You can imagine what type of ROI this person alone can bring into your agency. But you won't attract them with a random job post like searching for a marketing manager, $3 an hour plus 3% commission per sub. OFM agency must be flexible. Like, these people won't reply to that. They have a certain standard, and you're going to get that either through headhunters, like I said before, or through actual hiring ads, like every other company does it. So might as well professionalize a bit. Now, obviously, ads are the most complicated one out of those. From everything that I've said, right, from clothing, locations, gimmicks, I think especially just by opening Pinterest and Amazon, you're going to be able to find some pretty good things to hire. The same with chatter, since I have like a fucking armada of videos about hiring and about employees as a whole. But ads are obviously one of the harder things to comprehend or to find the specific settings, the specific scripts you have to use. It's a big fucking deal. So in order to fix that, I have an entire ebook on how to find and win models, right? If we talk about the recruiting part, where I have an entire section on how to do paid advertisements to find models, how to do paid advertisements on Instagram and on Meta especially, right? And in order to get this, you can either join the free group in the description and get your ebooks for free, or you can get it right here on YouTube and see it on my post tab on my channel, which I'm going to post there a couple of days after the video. But you have to be subscribed in order to see it, so make sure you hit that subscribe button now, and you're going to get notified once I post the entire guide there, so you can start being paid to win, spending money to make money, which, hey, once you start to make some revenue, that's going to be a wet dream for a fucking while. Am I right? Spending money, making money ain't sounding that bad. So in order to get that done, make sure to subscribe. Look out for the post. Besides that, I hope you have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.